For more, we are going to cross now to our Brussels correspondent, Dave Keating. Hi, Dave. European leaders seemingly issuing a much less forceful response today than even yesterday and in prior months, I think you could argue. If you agree with that, do you think that this is, in a sense, EU allies then acknowledging that they simply have little leverage, if any at all, over what the White House wants?
Yeah, what a difference a day makes. Yesterday, when EU leaders were still unsure whether this peace plan that had been leaked to the media had the full backing of the Trump administration, they were saying that it was really outrageous, that it was a surrender for ordering surrender for Ukraine. The EU's chief spokesperson, Kaja Kallas, the foreign affairs chief, came out saying that Europe had not been consulted in this at all and that any peace plan needs the involvement of Ukraine and Europe. But then today it emerged that, yes, this wasn't just a side project by Steve Witkoff. It has the full backing of Secretary of State Marco Rubio and President Trump. And now all of a sudden they're changing their tune. Now they're putting out a statement, the European leaders, saying that they can work with this peace plan, that they welcome this peace plan. And as you say, that is really an acknowledgement that they have absolutely no power here. But don't mistake that for acceptance of the plan. People are furious here. There are really some outrageous demands here, especially this idea that the EU would have to use all of its frozen Russian assets, take on the legal liability for seizing them, and pay an additional 100 billion euros to the U.S. in order to manage Ukraine's reconstruction. And then the U.S. would benefit from that financially. It's shocked a lot of people here. And really, people have been in kind of denial, I would say, here over the past months, taking some of Trump's public comments that seem to start to be frustrated with Vladimir Putin and Russia. You kept hearing in this town, Trump has softened on Ukraine. He's now anti-Russia. He's back on our side. Well, today really shows that that type of thinking was frankly delusional, as one EU official just told me earlier.
Now, despite some of the outrage behind the scenes that you described there, Dave, there's perhaps another way to understand this watered down response. Do you see it as perhaps also a response to a lack of domestic appetite for further conflict with the EU, not only within EU countries, but also amongst EU members? There's little consensus.
Yeah, this is an acknowledgement not only that the European public doesn't seem to have a big appetite for a major confrontation or war with Russia, but also the fact that the EU has really failed. Europe, let's say, in a larger sense, has failed over the past years to be able to develop a capacity to support Ukraine on its own. All the ideas that they came out with over the past year have been stalled in internal infighting. You've had disagreement among member states about how to support Ukraine, and then all of these ideas just sit paused. So essentially, Europe is still entirely reliant on the United States, and really the U.S. can dictate these type of terms. So we'll see over the coming days. I mean, the deadline has been set as Thursday, for which the Ukraine would have to accept what most people here are calling a surrender, a U.S.-ordered surrender. Will any of the EU leaders try to speak out against this, try to say, no, Ukraine, you have another path. We can continue to support you. You don't need to accept these U.S. demands? We'll see. I'm not sure if Kyiv would see those types of reassurances from European leaders as credible, given how little they've done to make Europe independent over the past 4 years and strong enough to support Ukraine on their own.
Dave Keating in Brussels, thank you very much.